I remember it too. I was so happy.
Yeah.
I'm running down the line. I'm boom, working. So then I dip. I look at the clock and say 2084. I just remember screaming. I was so happy, bro. Something. I ain't go national. I got last.
What?
I got last running 20.9.
That's crazy.
16 people go into 200. I got 16th. You ever seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
So you know how he kept saying he took, whatever it was personal?
Yeah, he took What's good, YouTube? Back again with another podcast video. I know I haven't been posting for a minute, but we back. But today we have a special guest for you guys. We went from 800-meter runner to professional sprinter, decorated athlete, individual, my coach, my sprint coach. Please welcome Deshaun Marshall. How you doing? Nothing much. Chilling.
How y'all doing?
You feel me? So, how's your day?
It's been good, man. Saturday. Get to watch some college football, get to chill out, get to take a break from y'all busters for a couple of days. But it's going pretty good, though. How about yourself?
No, I've been pretty good. Just excited for this podcast. Honestly, just trying to get an insider, athlete and coach perspective and stuff like that.
So, respect that.
So, one of the questions I have, the first questions I have is, who is Deshaun Marshall?
In what aspect? As a coach?
as an individual, as an athlete. Let's just start with athlete. Like growing up, what sports did you play? Why did you fall in love with track?
I think the very first sport I did was soccer. I had a lot of energy, man. I probably got tired of running around the house a little bit. So soccer, you can just kind of go out there and run a little free. Just use my speed, whatever speed I had at the time. Then I played basketball. That was kind of something that was in my crib when I was little.
Yeah.
Something my dad did when he was growing up. So it was kind of passed down to me. I did a little bit of everything. I think I played baseball, I played football, basketball, track, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I think I fell in love with track because it's an individual sport.
Okay.
I think certain sports, let's just say basketball, I got tired of, kind of relying on my teammates sometimes. Let's say if I pass you the ball, you miss the shot. It's like I can only control so much. So I think with track, I was able to kind of have my hands on my performance, and I really like that a lot. And it was something that I started late. So, it was kind of always new to me, and I fell in love with it pretty quick, man. But yeah, I think I loved it the most because it's, it's all on me.
Right, right. So basically saying like, it's just like you said, it's just you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Well, you can control what you can control, how hard you work. You know what I'm saying?
Obviously, you got your relays too.
Right.
Everybody feels the same way. Yeah,
okay.
So you can still get your, your taste of your team aspect with a relay or whatever. Obviously, certain meets, you got your team scores and, your team championships and stuff like that. But for the most part, man, you control your own destiny. So I think I like that. I like that part the most for sure.
So when did you start running track? What grade?
I was a junior in high school.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom made me run track actually. So my freshman year, my mom wanted me to run track. So she had bought like the uniform, bought the warm up, my spikes and everything like that. And then I was academically ineligible.
Okay.
So I couldn't run. So I had the gear for my freshman year. So going into my sophomore year, my mom was like, okay, you're going to do it. And I play AAU basketball.
Right.
So I was like, nah, I can't do AAU basketball. If I'm traveling on the weekends, I can't really attend my track meets.
Right.
So my junior year, the actual first year I started running track, my mom was like, listen, you got the gear, you got the spikes, you got everything I already paid for. So you're going to run or you're going to be on punishment the whole track season. Track season from like March to June.
Yeah.
At 16, I'm like, nah, I ain't finna be on punishment for no reason. So I just ran track. Then I started to love it, once I kind of, got around my teammates. Start to travel, start staying on the road with my teammates. It was pretty fun. You guys, get the same aspect. So that was something I really loved. Started running the 800.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, actually, that 800.
So I started running the 800, man, because I ran cross country my freshman year. So obviously our cross country coach is your track coach. So he was like, well, you ran cross, so you might as well run distance.
Okay.
So I did pretty good. My junior year, my first year running track, I won our conference meet in 800.
Okay. What was your time?
2 flat. It was decent.
You hear me?
It was decent. I ran 2 flat, but that was it though. I still didn't even like it then. So my senior year, I think I kind of came back with like, okay, obviously I want to defend my title in the 800 within my conference. But then I started watching, like paying attention to more track meets and stuff like that. So I fell in love with the 4x4.
Okay.
So I was like, I can still run an 800, but I want to see if I can get on a 4x4. So I did that, and then that's what kind of drove me a little bit my senior year. Yeah, just start, wanted to run some more 400s, man. Yeah.
So, like, the 400, like, how was the training for it? You know what I mean? I know it was kind of, because 800, I think, it's kind of easier, right? Or is it about the same for the training for the 4?
I would say it's kind of about the same because now the 800 is becoming more of a tempo race.
Okay.
I'll say probably when I first started, I'll say maybe back in like 2010, 2011.
Okay.
That sounds so long ago. 2010, 2011, it was a little bit more of a jog than try to kick home, but now it's it's kind of like a sprint. You be seeing the 800 runners.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So I say now it's about even. But back then, man, like I said, we used to do mileage and mileage and mileage and mileage. So I was like,
that's where the endurance.
Yeah. And I wasn't even the best cross country runner.
Okay.
So I was like, maybe this 800, may not be for me. But that's what I went to college for. So I stuck it out my 2 years of high school. So it was pretty cool.
What was your goal coming out of high school and going to Indiana Tech?
I ain't have one, man.
You have one?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. I ain't gonna sit here and be like, no, my goal was I didn't have a goal, man. So like I said, I remember my freshman year of high school. I told my parents, I thought it'd be for basketball though. I told my parents, they're not gonna have to pay for school. Mm. So that was my goal coming out of high school. Like, okay, I got a scholarship, so that was what I wanted. So my freshman year, I just kind of wanted to go in, man, and just kind of see where it'd take me. Then I went with my best friend Darius. We went to the same high school, and he was pretty good. He ran 47.90 out of high school.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was good.
So you got recruited for the 4?
No, I got recruited for the 8.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got recruited for the 8, but like I said, my best friend Darius, he got recruited for the 4.
Okay.
So we went to Indiana Tech together. So he was like, "Hey man, I'm gonna do 2 years. I'm gonna get out of here."
Right.
I was like, "Shoot, if you do 2 years and get out of here,
yeah,
I'm gonna try to do 2 years and get out of here."
Okay.
So we had sat down. I remember it vaguely. We had sat down in my dorm room my freshman year. It was like, "Man, we're gonna do 2 years. We're gonna go to Arkansas."
Okay.
Because Arkansas was popping back then. I mean, they still are, but I think that was the school that kind of everybody was looking at. So we wanted to go to Arkansas. So if you wanted to say like, what was my goal? I wanted to do 2 years and go to Arkansas. But obviously, things took me in a different path.
Right.
But my freshman year, man, I didn't have any goals, man. I just kind of wanted to see like what I could get into, how good I would be, and how things would went. Man, I went in there blind. I didn't go in there with any expectations for it. I just went in there like, hey, see what I could do for real.
So what is one thing like you learned from being at Indiana Tech, or form wise, or anything that's like took you to that next level?
Learn how to self-assess yourself.
Okay.
Kind of what I mean by that is learning what you need to work on.
Okay.
And I feel like that was one, mature trait that I had that I didn't know I had going into my freshman year of college. Like I said, so between my freshman and sophomore year, I kind of went home. I kind of talked to my dad. I was like, Dad, I needed to work on my form. Okay. I didn't use my arms a lot. Like I kind of ran like with chicken wing arms. Yeah. I had like a arched back.
Yeah, we talk about that, right?
Yeah. My whole everything was just kind of off. So I knew I needed to work on my form. I knew I needed to work on my strength. Because I was real weak, man. I was just in the weight room. I just wasn't strong. I wasn't as fast as I wanted. So I just most definitely knew what my weakness was. Okay. And kind of went home and just attacked it. Just that's all I did that all off season, man. I didn't work on my strengths. Because my strengths is gonna be my strengths.
I feel that.
I knew I was gonna be able to work on my weaknesses on my free time, and I think that's one thing that I was able to do. Just kind of assess and look in the mirror, like, okay, I need to work on X, Y, Z, and kind of dig into it.
I feel like you had that competitiveness, right? It's like going into your sophomore year, was it like, okay, like none of y'all mess with me? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so granted, like I said, I went in there with my best friend Darius. Right. He ran 47.90 coming out of high school. So our freshman year, he was kind of the poster child.
Yeah. Okay.
So don't get me wrong, like I wasn't hating, but I was hating.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, like we came here together.
Right.
With you getting all the love, and I'm like, what do I need to do to kind of, put myself in a picture to be kind of relevant as well?
Right.
So most definitely, I was like, all right, man, I got to get up to that level for sure. So then I went to my coach and was like, hey, man, let me run the 400. Let me see what I can do in that. And I think it went pretty well. But yeah, man, I most definitely was a real competitive person. Coming back my sophomore year, I knew I had goals then.
Right.
My freshman year I did. My sophomore year I kind of, took that first year.
Right. Learning process.
Learn the process. Kind of learn the everyday life of college athlete. You know how it is.
Yeah.
So I most definitely wanted to just go to nationals.
Okay.
My sophomore year, because I went my freshman year as an alternate, bro, and it was.
So let's talk about that for a little bit.
So my indoor nationals, like I said, I ran the 800.
Right.
So I went as an alternate for the DMR.
Okay.
Ain't no like big event or whatever, but I was happy to go.
Right.
So my outdoor season, my freshman year, I think this is where everybody got like a villain story or whatever.
Okay.
I think this is. I think it kind of carried me forever. So my freshman year outdoor season.
Okay.
It was time for the 4x4, and it was time for the prelims. So then it was between me and a guy named Daquan Ruth.
Okay.
So then at the time I was faster than Daquan, like as far as splits in the 4x4 or whatever. So my coach at the time, Doug Edgar, he was like, okay, we're gonna do a coin flip.
Okay.
To see who's gonna run the prelim.
Right.
Between me and Quan.
Right.
So I'm like, there shouldn't even be a coin flip. Like I was splitting maybe like 48s, and then he was splitting like 50s.
Right.
But Quan has been there for 3-4 years, so I think it was a seniority thing.
Okay.
So I was like, okay, like whether I get the run or not, I'm gonna remember this moment. Granted, I got the run, and I ran out of anger, so I ran first leg. I ran 47.3. I was hot. So then after that, I was like, oh yeah, good run, Right. But in the back of my mind, I'm like,
it's not happening.
This is not gonna happen again.
Right.
So I knew most definitely I carried that chip on my shoulder. Going into the next year, I worked my butt off over the summertime. So I came back, like you said. One, and I'm not gonna be in that predicament and continue. Two, ain't nobody gonna be able to mess with me when I come back. You know what I'm saying? So I think that was really what it was, man. That story and that incident where he had to do a coin flip. I feel like there was so many other ways. We could have went.
That was just disrespect.
You know what I mean. So I remembered that. I still do, obviously, to this day. But yeah, most definitely that coin flip. I think that kind of changed the trajectory of what I was able to do on the track for sure.
So coming into your sophomore year, like you said, you didn't let that happen again. And talk about how like going to nationals that your sophomore year, and then of course transferring out. NAIA, if you guys didn't know, Indiana Tech is to a D1. So let's talk about that process a little bit. But let's go back to like my time here is done.
Yeah, I think my sophomore year was, was a pretty big year for me. Like I said, my goal my sophomore year was to just go to nationals. I went as an alternate twice my freshman year, so I was like, okay, I want to, be able to kind of be dependent on my own times.
Right.
So obviously, I was running pretty good. I think at the time the 400 standard was probably 48.70.
Okay.
So my first meet we opened up at Grand Valley State. I ran 48.50. Okay. I was like, all right, boom. Got that out the way. So I was like, okay, obviously, I'm a national caliber athlete. So I get to nationals. I think I came in ranked top 10, but nothing alarming. No, I wasn't a favorite or anything like that. So I think my PR at the time was 48.50, which is what I ran my opener. And then in the prelims and nationals, I ran 47.90. Wow. I was like, okay. I'm dropping times or whatever. Right. And then I made it to nationals in the 200 as well. I think at nationals in the prelims I ran 21.70. Obviously, it didn't get me to the finals, but that was another PR.
Okay.
So the next day, I ended up winning nationals. I ran 46.98.
Okay.
So I dropped.
That's a crazy time to drop.
I ran 46.98. I just missed the national record. The national record was 46.95 by Ramon Miller. So kudos to him, but I just missed it. So then my outdoor season, obviously, indoor national champ. So you got the target on your back.
Right.
I got to nationals. I didn't run as fast. I kind of messed up my hamstrings, both of them, about 2 weeks before nationals. I ended up winning nationals still. I ran like 47.0. Wow. So I ran a little bit slower, but at that time it's just placement. Like I don't care if I would have won with a 49.5.
Yeah, you had to win.
I won nationals. So. But I think the meet that put me on the map my sophomore year was pin relays. Okay. We went to pin relays. In the prelims of the 4x4, I think we ran 309. Okay, that's pretty quick, you know what I'm saying? But, pin relays is all divisions.
Right.
So we was running against Division 1s, 2s, 3s. I ran against some international schools from Jamaica, stuff like that. So in the finals, we ran 306.80. And I split 45.5.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. I split 45.5. And I came through the line celebrating, and it was a pretty good experience for me. But then after, I was anchor.
That's crazy. All eyes on you.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, man. I most definitely, I wanted to step up to the plate. I was telling everybody, even when I transferred out, I would tell my teammates on the relay, I'm like, listen, I don't have no expectations for y'all, but just keep it close, and I got the rest.
Right.
So I most definitely, they kept it close for me, and then like I said, I just let the win take me for real. Like I didn't expect to run 45, but
it did.
Yeah, I just went out there. So I think that meet most definitely put me on the map because I did it against bigger competition.
Right.
I think that was one good thing about me. I always ran to the level of my competition. It's a good thing and a bad thing.
Right.
But obviously in that instance, it was a good thing for me. And then after that season, it was a couple Division I schools that was contacting me.
Okay, I was gonna talk about that.
Yeah. So it was a couple schools that was contacting me. I think the first school, which is great, which I don't know how, the first school that contacted me was Texas A&M.
Wow.
Yeah. So once they contacted, I was like, okay.
They gotta go for about 40.
Yeah. So I was like, okay. I was like, all right. I actually might be, decent. So that was pretty cool. I didn't want to leave Indiana Tech, man, because I didn't. You can, like I said, I can call my friend right now, Alex Rell. He had to tell me to leave.
Wow.
Because I love my teammates, man.
Yeah.
I love my teammates. I love the environment. My teammates most definitely was the reason I feel like I got that far. Because they pushed me day in and day out. They held me accountable. They didn't let me slack, nothing like that. So then he was like, man, I think you need to transfer. I think you bigger than here.
Right.
I was like, nah, man, I ain't.
Yeah.
You know, I ain't nobody. I ain't nobody special. Da 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 da. So then Texas A&M hit me up, and I was like, okay, I actually might be, you know, who Alex is saying I am. So, you know, without Alex Rowe, I don't think I would have transferred, man, because I didn't want to leave at all. Yeah.
So let's talk about all the other schools that contacted you. You end up going.
Yeah. So Texas A&M was the first school to contact me. Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State, Purdue. I'm trying to think. It was a couple other schools, man. Miami, Florida. It was a couple other schools that most definitely contacted me. I took my visits to Ole Miss, which I verbally committed to at first, but their coach ended up leaving, so you know I didn't want to go there. Visited Ole Miss. I visited Mississippi State. I visited Ohio State, obviously. I visited Purdue. Oregon had contacted me, but I contacted them first.
Okay.
The reason I contacted Oregon because their gear.
Yeah, Oregon.
So I contacted them out as a joke.
Okay.
They emailed me back the next morning.
Okay.
I was like, oh shoot. But then I was like, nah, I don't think I could be that far away from my family, my friends, and everything like that. But so it was a couple schools that most definitely contacted me, man. But like I said, I took my visits to, like I said, both schools in Mississippi, Ohio State, and I visited Miami, Florida. But I knew I wasn't gonna go to Miami, Florida because they were slow.
Okay.
I just visited Miami, Florida just for the visit, like a vacation for real.
So you were looking at the times, like where would you fit in?
Yeah.
It wasn't like because of gear or coach.
I mean, Oregon, it was
okay, of course.
But the other schools, it was more so because I wanted to go somewhere where I could be competitive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Indiana Tech, NAI school, we just ran 306.
Right. Okay.
So I don't want to go nowhere that's
slower
worse than because why would I do that?
Yeah.
So Clemson at the time, they weren't good, man. I most definitely vividly remember they ran 320. I was like, no way. I don't care. I'm not going there. Georgia, they probably ran like 315, which I'm like, no, I'm not going there either. I think so. Ole Miss, his name was Coach O'Brien. He had told me, he was like, yeah, man, you come here, you can handpick the 4x4. I was like, okay, that sounds cool. You know, I really liked it or whatever. So it was going to be me. I already knew who I was going to pick and everything.
Right.
It was going to be me, 2 distance runners, and a 200 guy. So I had it picked out. And then Mississippi State, that was probably my other second favorite school.
Okay.
I went on that visit. They were real friendly. They knew how to have fun, and that was another school I wanted to go to. So that was pretty cool. I actually was thinking about going to Mississippi State. And then, so the next weekend, on my birthday weekend, I visited Ohio State.
Okay.
Obviously, you know, which is where I ended up going. But so I visited them on my birthday weekend, and then I went back again 2 weeks later when they played Michigan.
Right.
I don't know if you guys know, like Ohio State, Michigan is like a big rivalry.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Ohio State, Michigan is probably the biggest football rivalry in the country, man. So I went on that weekend, and I was like, nah, this is where I need to be for sure. But I didn't want to go to Ohio State at first because that's where I'm from. I'm from Columbus, Ohio. But when I went, man, I couldn't turn down Ohio State at all.
So let's talk about like you're at Ohio State. You feel me? You're practicing. Was there anybody that's like, okay, I got to be faster than this person. I got to be him. He's the guy, so I got to compete with him.
See, that's the thing about, you know, I feel like once you're at like a Division I school, they're all the guys.
Right. Okay.
You know, there is nobody there that's not the guy. So I most definitely got there, but it was a guy that I know most definitely made me bring my A game every single day, and it was his name was Champ Page.
Okay.
Champ Page, he didn't really focus on too much but track. Like, you know what I'm saying? Track was most definitely, you know, all he really knew, all he slept, all he breathed, all he ate was just track. And, you know, most definitely. So I would watch him at practice, and I'm like, man, that guy is working, like, every single day. And I'll talk to him, you know, he wouldn't feel the best coming to work. You know, something's happening off the track, he's coming to work. That's all he knew was just work. Wow. So I'm like, okay, you know, let me kind of see how, you know, he maneuvers, and I most definitely adapted to how Champ, you know, approached, you know, track and field, and I know most definitely he made me elevate my game for sure. So that was my first year at Ohio State, my junior year.
Did you go to nationals your first year?
Yeah, I did. Okay. I did. Yeah. So me personally, no, but I went for the 4x4.
Okay.
So my first year at Ohio State, we went to 4x4. We got third at Big Ten. We ran 3.0. This is indoor.
Okay.
We ran 3.05. Wow. Yeah, we ran 3.05 indoor. Big Ten, we lost to who did we lose to? We lost to Illinois. And Penn State.
Okay.
So yeah, I went to nationals my freshman year. We didn't do too good because Champ popped his hamstring. And he popped off.
Right.
So Champ ran our first leg with a pulled hamstring. He ran 49 with a pulled hamstring. He popped it mid-race.
Yeah.
Champ was just, I don't know what's wrong with that boy, but he most definitely was a soldier.
Right.
So I went my freshman year, or my first year at Ohio State. Sorry, not my freshman year. But outdoor season, I got hurt.
Okay.
And that was, a whole nother debacle. But yeah, Champ most definitely made me like up everything I brought to the track, because if I was taking a day off, I know Champ wasn't, and I knew, for me to be as good as I wanted to be, I had to work just like Champ did for sure.
So like 800-meter runner, what made you start running sprints? Like the 200, 100,
so,
like 60?
So I can talk about that. So between my freshman and sophomore year, like I said, I knew the 800 was, it was over.
Right.
So my sophomore year at Indiana Tech, I went up to Doug Egger, was like, yo, can I try the 400?
Okay.
So he kind of gave me that, opportunity. It went pretty well for me. So obviously, I ran the whole sophomore year running the 400. Going into Ohio State, I got recruited to Ohio State to run the 400.
Right.
So I think my first month or two of fall training, as you know, fall training can get a little brutal.
Right.
So it just wasn't working for me. Like I wasn't finishing. I wasn't, hitting the marks when I was running. So it just wasn't looking good for me.
Okay.
So then I went to Joel Brown, which was my sprint coach at Ohio State, and I sat and talked to him in his car. He was about to leave practice, and I went and knocked up on his window, like, Joel, let me talk to you real quick.
Right, okay.
He's like, what's up? I said, man, this 400, I don't know, man, it's looking a little too hard.
Yeah.
So then he was like, yeah, we could try the 1 and the 2.
Okay.
So then, thankfully, both coaches, they kind of, allow me to be flexible with my events. Okay. Obviously, going up to them like, hey, this may not be for me. Let me try this, that, and the third. And they both granted me that, that ability to do so. But I kind of always knew I had a little bit of foot speed.
Okay.
But I also knew I had a little bit of endurance too, so I could kind of, fluctuate between events. Yeah.
And where did you see success in that when you transitioned? What was a meet where it was like, wow, like, dang, I really ran that? You talked about 21.7.
Yeah, so I think 21.7. Going to Ohio State, that was my PR in the 200.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So I wasn't even like a 200 burner.
Okay.
Like, my PR though was 46. So that's
right. That's what got you. Okay.
200. I wasn't a guy, man. Like it's. You got teammates that was faster than me. I wasn't that good in the 200. I'm trying to think what meet.
Y'all put him on the spot here.
I don't know, bro. I don't know. I think I don't think it was a. Dang, I don't know. I don't think it was a meet. It was a practice. It was a practice where I ran. We had 2 300s.
Okay.
And then both marks, I ran pretty fast. I ran like 33 on one of them, and then full recovery, which is about 10 to 15 minutes.
Right.
I ran 34. So I was like, okay, I low key can run. So then my senior year, I think the meet that kind of let me know that I might be all right, I think was my opener.
Okay.
I think I opened up with like 672. I was like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Like, I might be all right.
Yeah.
And then so I think in the 200, I think at Kentucky, I ran 21:58.
Okay.
It wasn't like, granted, it wasn't like loud,
right,
PR'd.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, I'm getting a little bit better. I think one meet where I knew like, okay, I might be all right as far as the national level. We went to Arkansas, and I ran 21:17. Wow. So I was like, okay, I'm getting a little bit faster. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So then obviously I just kept progressing in each event. Yeah, then I got to Big Ten Indoor Conference. In the prelims of the 200, I ran 20:84.
Wow, that's the first time breaking.
First time, and I remember it too. I was so happy.
Yeah,
because I'm running down the line. I'm boom, working. So then I dip. I look at the clock and say 20:84. I just remember screaming. I was so happy, bro, because that's certain landmarks that you're trying to get under, man. I ran 20:84, and I screamed. I was pretty excited.
Yeah.
But earlier that day in the 60 prelims, I ran 6:70.
Right.
So I just had a good day, man.
Wow.
I think that's all the work that I kind of was putting in as far as transitioning between the 4, the 2, the 1.
Was it a lot of speed work, you would say, or was it a lot
I got stronger.
Okay.
I got stronger. I focused on my strength. Obviously, you do speed work. Even when I was running a 400, you still do your speed work, stuff like that. But I just got stronger, man. I just was built like a twig. Don't get me wrong, I'm not big now.
Yeah.
I put on a little bit more mass. I got a little bit more defined. Just a little bit more explosive.
Stronger in the right places.
Yeah, stronger in the right places. And that's really key.
Okay.
I feel like something that we got to focus on as sprinters, not just trying to look big and, look strong, but actually getting strong in the places that benefit you the most.
That matters, yeah.
Yeah. So I most definitely just had a lot of faith in, just getting stronger within my respective areas that I needed to get stronger in.
Okay. So let's talk about outdoor, right? Outdoor 100. Let's talk about a little bit of outdoor at Ohio State.
Outdoor, so I opened up pretty good outdoor. So like I told you, first time I broke 21 was indoor Big Ten.
Yeah.
I ran 2084. Then the prelims, I ran 2070. I mean, in the finals, I ran 2074.
Wow.
Yeah. So that booked my ticket to go to indoor nationals.
Jeez.
I ran like crappy indoor nationals, man. I cried, actually. I think I ran 2090 something at indoor nationals. I got last.
What?
I got last running 20.9.
That's crazy.
16 people go into 200. I got 16th.
What? Did that fuel you? Like you
oh
was like,
my God. I'm real competitive. Like
I know.
I never got last like ever. Like I'm not gonna say I won everything. No,
right.
Definitely, but I've never got last.
Never got last. Wow.
So I'm like, nah, this can't happen again.
Right.
So most definitely, I was like, okay, this is not gonna happen again. But outdoor, I'm gonna have a way better showing. So first meet outdoor, we went to Florida Relays.
Okay.
PR, I ran 20:55.
Wow.
Yeah, I was rolling.
Wow.
So I ran 20:55, and then I ran like 10:40. So I was like, okay.
Was that your first 100?
First 100 ever?
Yeah.
No. I ran the 100 Indiana Tech just because I wanted to see what I could do.
Okay.
I ran like 10:82.
Oh wow! So that was a PR.
Yeah, 10 because I've only ran the 100 one time in my life. That was my sophomore year because I already hit the 400 standard.
Right.
I hit the 200 standard. I was like, well, I don't want to keep running 400 or 200. Can I run something else? He was like, yeah, we run. You can run the 100. I ran 10:82. Wow. Didn't run it again until my senior year.
Okay.
And then, like I said, I ran 10:44. So then that was pretty cool. But then for a while, all of my outdoor season, I kept running 10:30. I ran 10:30. I ran like 10:31, 10:36, 10:34, 10:30. I'm like, bruh. Like what is going on? But like one race, I'd have a good start, not a good transition. One race, I'd have a bad start, good transition. So I'm knowing like if I keep running 10:30s with different, approaches to the race, I know once I put it all together, it'll be pretty good.
Right.
So we had a home meet called the Jesse Owens Classic. I ran 10:28.
Wow.
I was like, okay, it's something's clicking here.
Right.
And it was like 40 degrees.
Bad weather.
Okay, yeah. Bad weather. Sprinter, man, we like it warm, we like it hot, you know what I'm saying? So I ran 10:20. I was like, all right. So I knew conference was probably like in a month. So I didn't even run over maybe like 50, 60 meters.
Okay.
I had such a bad start, man, that like I just had to key in on that. You know what I'm saying? So that's really all I was doing, man. So then I got to Big Ten.
Okay.
I went to Big Ten ranked number 1 in the 200. And then like number 5 in the 100. You know what I'm saying? So, but I wanted to win the 2 because the 200 was my baby.
Okay.
Like I said, I love the 200. That's still my favorite event to this day. Yeah, obviously, I'm not running it, but coaching and everything, the 200 is my favorite. So in the prelims of that, I was able to jog it. I ran like a 2090.
Jogging?
Yeah, I was running 2090.
Jogging is crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I probably ran like a hard 150.
Yeah, just chill the rest. Yeah.
So I could win my heat. I ran 2095.
Okay.
In the 100, I jogged, not jogged, but I kind of eased
up
a little bit. Yeah. And I ran like 10:30. Wow. So I was like, all right, I think I'm ready to go.
Right.
So on the finals day, granted, like I told you, I wanted to win the 200. I was number 1 in the Big Ten the whole outdoor season from that 20:55 that I ran at Florida Relays.
Right.
So we got third in the 4x1. Wasn't happy with that. But I'll take the blame on that. I had a bad handoff I ran second leg. I had a bad handoff between my second and third leg.
Okay.
So I was low-key sick about that. So on the 100, I feel like, you ever seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan?
Yeah.
So you know how he kept saying he took, whatever it was personal?
Yeah, he took it personal.
So the guy that beat me indoor in the 60, I got second indoor in the 60. I ran 670. A guy named Xavier Smith from Penn State, he ran 666.
Okay.
So outdoor season, that's all they was talking about.
Wow.
Xavier Smith. I'm like, all right, cool. But indoor, I was closing on him. But the 60, it's over quick.
It's quick, yeah.
So if I would have ran like a 75, I would have got him.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, Xavier Smith, that's all they talking about. They talking about him from Penn State. They was talking about Dan Quinn or something.
I heard of it.
Dan
Quinn.
He ran from Illinois.
Yeah.
They call him White Lightning. I'm like, bro, they is gassing up everybody else but me. So I was like, okay. But I knew I got second in indoor 60. So I'm like, okay, I'm only worried about Xavier Smith.
Okay.
So me and my coach, our game plan was at 50 meters, if I'm within 1 or 2 steps of Xavier Smith, he lost. Wow. He lost. It was over. Because I knew I was going to eventually charge past him and, just keep it going.
Right.
So I remember, boom, I get out. I'm driving, probably like 20, 30 in. I'm like, this low-key a good start. So I'm coming up, transitioning. We probably like 40 or 50. He's like right here. I'm like, it's over.
Right.
It's over. So we charge him, boom, 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 probably like 80. And I passed him. I knew it was over at that point. So I won the 100, unexpected, man. I wasn't even supposed to. I won it with a 10:05.
Wow.
Which is the Big Ten record still to this day. Yeah, 10:05, which is pretty good. So I was amped up. I remember celebrating on camera. I was geeked. I was so happy because, like I said, I didn't expect to win that. I expected to win the 200.
Okay.
So I remember after I won, you know, I stormed inside. I gave my coach a big hug. You know, I was pretty excited. So again, like I said, I got the 200 later.
Okay.
Man, I ran so bad in the 200.
What?
I did. I got fourth. Well, I won't say I ran bad. I got fourth. I ran 20:32.
Wow, that's pure.
Yeah, at the time. I got fourth for the 20:32. The guy that won, his name was Malik Moffitt. Shout out to Malik. He ran 1987.
No way.
Yeah. He ran 1987. My teammate Nick Gray ran 1997. Who got third? Xavier Smith ran like 2020 something, and I got fourth for the 20.32. But I knew instantly. Like, as soon as the gun went off, it's like, boom, I'm driving. I'm like, nah, I don't got it. I just felt flat. I felt tired. Because when you PR, you know, it shocks your body.
Right.
Your body has never ran that fast before. So I just was drained, bro.
Okay.
Like, don't get me wrong. I wanted to win it. But as soon as the gun went off, I was like, nah, I'm not going to get this one. And then Leak and Nick, they was up there rolling. So I got fourth, not by a lot, but I'm watching them fly, bro. Because Leak was out there in like 7. Nick was in 6. Xavier Smith was in 5, I was in 4. So we all in the middle of the track, but I'm like, bro, I ain't catching these dudes. Wow. 1987, he got the Big Ten record too. So so I set the Big Ten record in 100 that day. Malik Moffitt got to set the Big Ten record in 200 that day with 1987, which would be pretty tough to break.
So are you guys still close on social media?
Yeah. I still talk to some of these guys, So I'll still talk to Malik. He was a good long jumper too. Nick Gray was obviously my teammate. Xavier Smith, we still friends on social media, but not like, you know, every day.
For sure.
But them still my dogs, though. There's most definitely healthy competition. You know, it's people that, you know, you kind of was training for. Like, I'm training for Xavier Smith. I'm training for Malik Moffitt. I'm training for, you know, whoever it may be. And then obviously, you know, later on that day, I still had the 4x4.
Okay. Wow. So they not there yet.
No. I had the 4x1. Right. It was a long weekend, man. I had the 100, 200 prelims, the 4x1 final, 100 finals, 200 finals, and the 4x4 final. But nothing was going to keep me out that 4x4, man. I didn't care what was going on. I was going to run that 4x4 for sure. So that was the first time I split 44. That was the first time I split 44 that day, we won Big Ten championships in 4x4. We ran like 304-3. Yeah, so that was fun, man. Yeah, Big Ten my senior year, that was, you know, that put me on the map. Yeah, that was a good one.
That's tough. That's tough. So let's talk about, like you say, you won nationals. After college, what's next, you know?
I didn't know at the time.
Okay.
So I knew, like I said, I knew certain times was fast. Like I said, when I was running 10:05, I'm like, okay, that's pretty quick. Okay. But, you know, it's other guys that's running low 10s or, you know, 9 highs or whatever it may be. So I knew it was fast, but I didn't know, you know, how on a grand scheme of things, like how fast it was and how far it'd take me. So I knew at regionals, you know, I ran pretty good. Got to nationals. Nationals went pretty well for me. So it was a couple agents that was contacting me, but I still thought they was just, you know, kind of gassing me up or whatever. Right. But no, I think when I graduated in August, I graduated over summertime. You know, my coach Joe, he ran professional for Adidas for 11 years. So he was like, nah, man, I think you can run professional. You know, I'm gonna send you down to Florida to train with my old coach. His name was Brooks Johnson.
Okay.
So Brooks had some connects. Was able to get me signed professionally. I signed a professional deal.
So it's all about connects. It's all about connections.
It's more so just connections and networks, like who can kind of get you plugged in with there. I wasn't one of those guys that, you know, people was beating down my doors. Like, I wasn't you know, So I wasn't one of those guys. I think, you know, I had some times that was able to be marketable. Okay. But I wasn't like a Division I record holder, nothing like that. I was real good. I was All-American and stuff like that in all events. So, you know, I was a good talent, but yeah, it was more so, you know, people plugging me in, and then all I needed, I feel like at that time, was an opportunity for sure. I'll do the rest, but just kind of open the door for me. So I was real blessed for that. So I trained down in Florida with Brooks Johnson at ESPN Worldwide of Sports.
Wow, I've been there. Yeah, that's a big place.
Yeah, I trained at ESPN Worldwide of Sports. And then that was pretty good, man. I had a really good training group. I trained with Justin Gatlin for a couple months. Wow. And then he went down the street. He trained with a coach named Coach Gary Harris. And then I trained with LaShawn Merritt. Wow, yeah. He ran the 400. Yeah, I trained with Najee Glass. He used to run the 400 at University of Florida. I trained with a guy named Donald. He was the 400 runner for Israel. So I had a really good group, man. Yeah, I was really trained with some dogs, man. They most definitely made me bring it every single day.
So how was like the pro circuit? You know, was it like different from college, or like everybody's their own individual? You don't got no coach like, okay, you need to do this, or was it?
I feel like at that point everybody's, you know, independent.
Okay.
Everybody's independent. Obviously, you know, your coach isn't traveling, you know, with you at every single meet like, you know, we'll be in college or whatever. Right. But we're all adults at that point. We know exactly what we got to do. We know exactly we came here to handle business. And obviously, we all wanted some money.
Right, for
so
sure.
We was going there, trying to kill each other. Obviously, stepping off the track, we'll be the best of friends. But we was there trying to get them dollars. Man.
Right,
so
right.
The pro circuit was cool. I think my first pro circuit was when I graduated college. I went to Europe for a month.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to
Europe.
For a month. Yeah.
I didn't even know this, y'all.
Yeah, I went to Europe for a month.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Okay.
I think it was a different experience.
Okay.
Because their hotel beds aren't like queen or king beds.
Okay.
They're like twin or four beds, and like we're super close. So like, say if we got a bed right here, like you're sleeping this close to me.
Right. Wow.
In a twin bed. So bruh, it's like we become
weird.
real close. You ain't got no choice. So
right.
You got the same roommate for a month. We taking trains from meet to meet and stuff like that. It was a different experience, because in college, at Ohio State, we'll be able to just fly and
fly and chill.
But we was taking trains, shuttles. I would be here. I got to run in a different, town or state, country or whatever the very next day. So it was a pretty decent experience, but it kind of got my feet wet for sure.
Okay.
But the good thing about it was like a B-level circuit. So I was running with a whole bunch of like other colleges or college athletes that were trying to transition into being professionals.
Oh, okay.
So it was a whole bunch of people that I've seen over the last couple months.
Right.
We were all chasing the same thing. So I felt like that was pretty cool. I most definitely appreciated that first B-level circuit. When I did turn professional for sure.
So how was going into coaching? We haven't talked about touching on coaches.
Going into coaching, man, I didn't know this is what I wanted to do.
Okay.
But because now at this point, I'm probably 4 or 5 years in the game. I graduated from college. I'm like, man, I really love track. You know what I'm saying? I think since I started so late, I think I feel like I'm always learning something every single day. As far as basketball, if you play basketball from 5 to 20 or something, you feel like you kind of
know it. Yeah,
you're experiencing it all. But track, I started at 16. So by the time I turned professional, I was only 22, 23. Okay. So I'm just learning.
Yeah.
I started off my first couple years. I was running the 800, for a couple years. Then I ran the 400 for a couple years. I ran the 100 and 200 for a couple years. So I was always transitioning into something new.
Okay.
So I always was learning. So I think that's why even to this day, I still feel like I'm new within the sport because I feel like I'm always learning something, whether it be from you guys or what I read or what I see or what I learn from talking to people. So, I ran pro for about a couple years. I'd say maybe 3.5. Then I hurt my Achilles.
Okay.
Achilles was such a touchy thing, man. I couldn't really train. So I think that's when I knew, this probably ain't going to work. And it was a COVID year, so 2020.
Oh, yeah, 2020, okay.
So we couldn't go overseas.
Okay.
That's where you make your money at.
Right.
So between my Achilles and, me not being able to travel overseas, I'm like, let's see, where I can kind of venture off to next.
Okay.
So then...
Was it hard? Not running? Was it just
Yeah, I would say so. Because like I said, you're still competitive. Man.
Right,
so you
right.
want to do something. You don't like just training year round for nothing.
Right, okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it was hard, but like I said, I think that's why I really love coaching to this day because it still keeps me competitive.
Okay.
It's not obviously me on the track, but I could look at y'all and still, get that competitive drive. Or when we go to meets, I still want to beat other teams. Or I want to be the best coach. I want to be the best whatever I'm doing.
I was about to say,
So it don't matter what I'm doing, man. I want to be the best at it for sure. But it was different. Like I said, gracefully, like you said a couple minutes ago, it's about who you know.
Okay.
So my director of operations at Ohio State, his name was Nick Graves.
Okay.
He had called me, man. He was like, "Hey, man, I know you're done running. I don't know if you think about coaching, but Florida A&M, FAMU, they got a spot and they looking for somebody."
Okay.
So I was like, "Yeah, I'll apply." So I applied on a Saturday. By Thursday, Nadia Pompey, the head coach down at Florida A&M, she had called me back. Like, "Hey, I'm interested."
Right.
I just packed up and went down to FAMU for a little bit. Yeah. 2019. My bad. 2020. Yeah, 2019. So I was down there for about a year and a half.
Was it a learning experience? So you were just
my whole first year. I think so. I came in January. My first 6 months, I didn't even cook. I just sat back and watched.
Okay.
I just sat back and watched. I didn't lead a practice. I didn't do nothing. I just sat back and watched how she ran practice. I watched how the men's coach ran his practice.
Okay.
So I could kind of see how practice was ran at that level. Obviously, I wouldn't be an athlete. You just go in there and doing what you're told. Mm-hmm. So as a coach, you got to be the one that's leading the charge and stuff like that. So I kind of wanted to just see how, coaches ran it at that level. So that way I could kind of implicate, how I wanted to do things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I appreciate her for giving me that opportunity for sure.
So that learning experience, that transition, you coming here, I guess you would say.
Yeah, coming here, I think most definitely here. I really appreciate Cumberland for giving the opportunity, just for the simple fact I I use the word learning all the time.
Right.
I think you guys allow me to learn a little bit more than FAMU did, because FAMU is a big Division I school. So
right.
You got high expectations you got to meet from the jump.
Right.
And I was still kind of wet behind the ears. I knew the sport, like I knew like how to get fast, but I didn't know how to write a training block. I didn't know how to structure practice, and I didn't know how to do a lot of the things that I kind of do now.
Okay.
And I was able to kind of do that without super harsh expectations. Because, at FAMU, it's like, bro, if you don't go to regionals or nationals, like, what do you didn't have a good year.
Right.
Here it's obviously the same expectation, but I think it's a little bit graceful. The coach is a little bit graceful.
Okay.
The expectations are a little lower.
Right.
But I still kept the expectations of nationals or bust. You
Right.
get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's a little more graceful here.
Okay.
I think that's how I was able to, grow as a coach. I feel like not a lot of micromanaging, stuff like that. It's most definitely a different experience between here and FAMU that was able to boost my expertise as a coach for sure.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, what is your long-term goal, like, from being a coach? Like, what do you want to be like? Okay, this is my goal. Like, I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, this is what I did. This is what I achieved.
Man, as a coach, man, most definitely, I wanna be a head coach one day for sure. Okay. I also want to make the Hall of Fame as a coach.
I didn't know that was a thing.
I want to make it. I mean, I made it as an athlete,
right?
But I want to make the Hall of Fame as a coach. Obviously, like I said, my expectations are super high. I want to win nationals wherever I'm at. I want to break school records wherever I'm at. That's one thing about me, man. Everywhere I go, I've been a winner,
right?
And I want to continue that no matter what level I'm at, whether it be here or back big. It doesn't even matter, man. I want to be a winner. I want to be a national or championship coach. I want to be a Hall of Fame coach. Right. I want to break school records. I just want to do stuff like that. But I think my end goal, man, is most definitely making the Hall of Fame as a coach for sure. Yeah.
I feel like you can do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it, man. That's one thing. If I set it out to do it, I'm gonna do it.
Right.
I don't care how long it takes. I ain't gonna stop until I do it. So.
So one of the last questions I have is, what do you have for the people that's watching, the track athletes that's watching, that's inspired by your story? Like, what advice do you have for them?
Man, if you want to do it, you could do it. It don't matter if you run the mile right now and you want to run the 100, you can do it.
Right.
Because I'm a living testimony. You can do it, bro. It's not going to be easy. I ain't going to sit here and say it's easy work. It's going to be a lot of uncomfortable days. It's going to be a lot of uncomfortable practices. It's going to be a lot of times you look in the mirror like, nah, I don't even know if I want to do this no more. You know what I'm saying? But, I mean, it'll all pay off if you stay, genuine to the process, to the grind. Most definitely you got to be self-aware. You can't be fake or phony with yourself. You can't look in the mirror and say, I'm doing X, Y, Z when you really know you're not, because it'll show.
Right.
It'll most definitely show. Yeah. But like I said, there's nothing that you can't do, bro. Like I said, because there's just, the sky's the limit. I know it's such a cliche thing, but I've done it, bro. I've ran the 800, became a Big Ten record holder in the 100. It just sounds so crazy. The range is insane. Yeah. But, I mean, if I can do it and I ain't nobody special, then I feel like anybody could do it. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, some of your teammates, they just faster than me. Already in some of their events, so I know most definitely they can attain the same goals I can, if not a little bit more. So just keep working, man. Trust the process, trust your coach, trust the training. Yeah. And that's just really it, bro. It'll take you as far as you want it to go.
That's real. Well, thank you guys for enjoying or tuning into this podcast. There you guys have it, Deshaun Marshall. But
appreciate you having me here.
Yeah, no problem.
Get on that as well.
You feel me? So make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and tune into the other podcast videos I have for you guys. And I'll see you in the next video.
You all. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Yeah, I always fear nothing but love. Nothing was changing but time. Stuck in my ways, I wanna say I got a million hoes waiting on me.